is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 230. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him... sitting here on a Wednesday, back to our regular schedule. I don't know about you, man. I am super happy that we do not play today. How do you feeling, my friend?
That's exactly how I feel. I feel refreshed, rejuvenated, slightly optimistic now. That we're not just in the trenches churning out content after watching shit games. I'm having a good day. I definitely feel the weight of May off of the shoulders here. Good start to June, and hopefully these boys can go up there to Colorado and get us some points. Score some goals, get us some points.
Yeah. Hey, how about it? We would take some for sure. I mean, look, you don't have to. We're still here, but we would like it. That's what we're here for.
Correct.
So we will preview the upcoming road match against Colorado Rapids. A little last business day as well. We're doing the double in Colorado this weekend. FC2 up there taking on Rapids 2 as well. We've got some nonsense, a couple pieces of news to hit on here. But before we get into the rest of episode 230 of the North End Podcast, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And you can toggle on auto downloads so you can support the show going forward without having to think about it again, just by toggling on those auto downloads. You can go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, hitting the subscribe button does help us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. So I think we got the audio coming through the correct channels here on episode 230. And I will start the episode by saying shout out to Offside Modeling on Blue Sky, because while I do not like the result of this, we do have some closure here. Our buddy over at Offside Modeling, a couple weeks late, but does get to us with the math here that says Jamal Tiare was 3 inches onside by their model back in that Atlanta game last month. So again, it is pointless really to be revisiting it, but I think about these things day in and day out. So when I saw this pop up on the feed, I'm still upset about it. But it does appear that the officials got this right. And I think they're lucky because you can still see the linesman, not with the ball up there on the top. But for anybody who still had questions, as I did until Tuesday of this week, there you go.
I don't buy it. This is doctor. I'm not buying this. You sent this in the group chat the other day. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what is this guy fucking doing right now? Because obviously you said that in multiple group chats, and I'm in multiple group chats.
You're in a lot of group chats.
We are in so many goddamn group chats together. It's actually pretty impressive. But you said this in 2 of them, and I was just like, what is this guy doing right now? Like, we're already down, kicked, and everything, and like you're gonna go ahead and be like, well, the rest were right. The rest we hated the most all year.
I still hate them.
All right. Still hate them. Yeah. Well, they got receipts now.
Yeah. Well, look, when the Offside Modeling tells you that Emiliano Rigoni scored against Seattle, you get even more upset. So this time I'm just, look, maybe we were wrong. Maybe. No. In maybe some better news, at least maybe for you. We'll see if this lightens your mood a little bit. Myrto Uzuni is training with the Albanian national team. He had spent the first day or 2 of their camp training off to the side individually, I imagine because he had just come off playing like 9 games in 4.5 weeks, but did get some pictures posted by Myrto and the Albanian national team, I believe late last night or early this morning. So he's out there all good, big smiles. And his wife posted an Instagram story holding up a little baby Uzuni Jr. jersey on the way to their match this Saturday, the 7th. So I believe it is Serbia first, Latvia second on Tuesday. So, of course, we will be tuned in, watching along, and hoping that Myrto can use this little national team stint over the international break to get right, man. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, man, I hope it goes well for him. I hope he mostly enjoys the time with his family and his child and everything, and is able to come back a bit refreshed. But I don't know if, if it's going to be solving our problems when you get back here, to be honest. There's a lot that's going on that needs to be handled here on our end, outside of just sending our top paid player over to Albania to play for his country and everything like that. But I obviously wish him well, happy that he's going to be able to see his kid and his wife and everything, and have that. And then, stay healthy and come back rejuvenated, refreshed, just like we are today, and ready to roll for the second half of the season. So good luck to Myrto, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm ready to roll, man. I know you said in the intro talking about a little bit of a weight off your shoulders, maybe a little bit of that positivity, that optimism coming back. I feel it too. So the second half of the regular season underway this Saturday, kickoff out there at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City, Colorado, 8:30 p.m. Central this Saturday. This is another Western Conference team that we have already seen this year. So no history lesson. You want that? I think it's episode 203 or 204. You can go back if you need the Rapids history lesson. But back in that first meeting, right, it was game 3 of the regular season at Q2 Stadium back in March. Colorado, of course, won that meeting 1-0 at Q2 on the Hafa Navahu breakaway goal, right, assisted by Georgi Mihailovic. So I think you could say they're two most talented or highest profile players on that team, maybe outside of Zach Steffen, combining for that lone goal in the first meeting. But that game, as we have seen, kind of play out a handful of times here this season, and even more over the existence of this club, 20 shots to 6 in favor of Austin FC in that one. So, of course, a frustrating night there at the Q a few months back. That was also the match that Mikael Dessler looked like he damn near ripped his hamstring off his bone. So the fact that he is finally back and hopefully getting a start here this week, hopefully, maybe a little full circle there where he can have a good match against the Rapids here. And talking about where the Rapids are now, taking a look at the table, this is a big match in terms of jostling for position. As we get here into the month of June, where international break is this week, and there's only 5 MLS matches. Club World Cup starts soon, right? Gold Cup starts soon. The schedule, it's really going to start getting imbalanced in the table in terms of games played. So you got to keep that in mind now looking at the table going forward. Colorado does have a game in hand on us because their match on Saturday was postponed. They had LAFC on the schedule. LAFC, of course, played Club America in the play-in game for the Club World Cup. They won in extra time. So the Rapids had the week off. So they are 2 points above us. A win would launch Austin above Colorado in the standings and guarantee that you're at least in a wild card spot after this weekend. Your second half of the season, man, this is where you really start to look at the table and start thinking about the math involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the games and the points that this team has dropped at home, this is a winnable road game where you can go ahead and establish a bit more footing for yourself as we move into the second half of the season. 2 teams, obviously, that I don't think are meeting the expectations of their clubs right now. Colorado, you mentioned before we jumped on here, doing a little subterfuge spy work, going onto their local podcast and listening to what they have to say and everything. But these are 2 teams that we're not overly matched by this club by any stretch of the imagination, even despite not having Myrto ready to go and everything. So this is an important matchup in the middle of this type of table here, where it's you can look back at this one and say, this is an important 3 points that we got on the road to help make up for some of these games we've dropped at home as of late here. They're not great. I do respect some of the players that they have. Are they going to have Georgie? Is he going to be available?
Yeah, so that's a good shout because Mihailovic, who does lead them in goal contributions, 7 goals, 3 assists. He's the only player on the roster that has appeared in and started all 16 of their league matches. but he came out of their last match, which was on the road at Portland last Wednesday, so a week ago tonight, came off in the 54th with what Coach Armas said post-game was more of a cramp in his hamstring rather than a strain. So shit, man, like I would take, if Georgie needs an extra week, take your time, brother. But if all indications are that he's going to be ready to go here.
Okay, well, he's a very important player for them, like you mentioned there, obviously, in the goal contributions. I'm going back and like just trying to remind myself of the first matchup and looking at the stats from that game. And like you said, 20 shots for Austin, 14 in the box. We had a lot of opportunities that night. I remember Stefan was pretty much on it. Stefan was in the net there, right? I remember him being on his game that night, but a very frustrating night for the team. Yeah, man of the match for Stefan there. He really saved them. But we generated a lot of good looks here, and that's one of the things that I was looking at with this team, somewhat underperforming their goals just like us, but a defense that can get scored on. I think that they're overperforming their expected goals versus goals conceded thus far.
Oh, yeah,
but
on the defensive side? Yeah, absolutely.
So you can get chances on this team like we did in this first game, and I thought that this was one of the games where like this was the third game of the year where we had ran into those two losses there with Colorado, and I believe it was
Portland, the game before on the weird goal from DaCosta.
Yep, and we were only sitting on one goal, and we were starting to get that frustration from those three matches and everything like that. But this was one where we really generated a lot of good looks, and that through ball to Navajo early in that first half of that game was a really nice ball, but a bit of a lucky bounce to get him through and like get him in on Stuver. Nothing you can do there, but this is a team that we're going to be able to generate shots on. I hope. I guess that I should put that little asterisk caveat there. And it's going to come down to our finishing, which we know has been the thorn in this team's side all season long.
And you mentioned their defensive numbers there, specifically looking at their expected goals against. They have given up the 8th most in the league. So that is maybe where these two teams differ the most, because offensively, they're 28th in possession, just 44.2% per game on average. They are 18th in expected goals for. That's just one spot above Austin. Obviously, with 18 goals scored, they have done a better job of trying to keep up with their XG compared to Austin, who is, again, historically bad right now in that department. But they're 25th in shots on target per game. Austin's 29th. They're just 0.1 more shots on target per game. So again, there are a lot of similarities to how these two teams have somewhat stumbled out of the gate. Neither club was really predicted to be like top 3 and competing at the top of the West. But they've both been inconsistent, I think, to say the least. Colorado has been awarded 4 penalties, which is 3rd most in MLS. We'd take some more of those too. But looking back to just this last weekend's match in a vacuum, you got to get into the fucking box to get a penalty call. So maybe that's something we can work on as well. I mentioned it and talking about the personnel a little bit more. We talked about Georgie, right? He's one of their 3 DPs. This is a 3-3 build, sub 300K GAM left for this team. So not a lot of wiggle room for Colorado to make moves this summer. Their 3rd DP outside of Mihailovic and Navajo is still Kevin Cabral. So that contract expires in December. I imagine Rapids fans and probably their front office counting the days until they can get Kevin Cabral and that DP tag off of this cap sheet. Because I believe Cabral has also appeared in like 15 of their games and still doesn't have a goal. I feel like the last goal he scored was on us in 2024 at the Q. I know he had a couple more throughout the year, but Navajo himself, 5 goals and 1 assist. Navajo has actually been hurt of late. He was out, I want to say like 2.5 weeks, but came back on off the bench against Portland last Wednesday. Oliver Larraz, right, who we remember from Rapids 2 in that 2023 next pro season. He's also got 3 assists, tied with Georgie for the lead on the team in terms of assists. In that Portland match, midfielder Wayne Frederick got a red card in the 67th minute. Portland scored the winner 9 minutes later, so no Wayne Frederick. It's not a huge player for this team, right? This is a supplemental roster player, but as they have taken on some water in the injury department, it's not just Navajo who's been hurt. Cole Bassett, who is a another U22 player for them, very big piece of what they do in their midfield. He's got an ankle issue. I would think, again, we'll get official injury reports on Friday. My estimation right now is doubtful for Bassett. I think he's going to take another couple of weeks here. And then they are not immune to the international window either. Zach Steffen is called up right now to the U.S. So it will be Nico Hansen in net for them, as Adam Beaudry seemingly has been passed by this 23-year-old Danish keeper here in Nicholas Hansen, who, again, doing the subterfuge, listening to some of those Rapids podcasts, they're pretty satisfied with what they're getting from their backup keeper. So they don't seem to be too worried that Steffen will be missing for this one. So hopefully we can make them pay on that. It's not our style right now, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still going to take that any day of the week if you can get
sure.
Steffen out of there and get some backup keeper in there.
Especially how good he was against us.
Exactly. And not to be disrespectful, but I definitely like to see that Steffen's out of there. The Kevin Cabral thing is just too funny to me. Injury to Cole Bassett is big. I thought that their midfield in the first matchup was solid for them. Atencio as well. And I thought they got some good stuff out of Larraz. But Mihailovic is really what makes this team go. You know, like you mentioned with the goal contributions. He's the guy we're going to have to focus on. And he can play and shift and move around a little bit. They like to drop him in behind Navahu as well, but he can get out into the wing. He's a good player. So that's where it really comes down to for me. Nothing on that back line is too impressive in my book. Maxu, solid. Nothing too great, though. But again, the chances are going to come here. And if you have a backup keeper, this is a game like I'll say this. I don't think the first matchup is a 1-0 game if Zach Steffen is not in net. I'll say that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like they can be happy and satisfied with them. But if we're able to generate the looks that we generated in that first matchup, I think you're going to be able to score, which is a low bar to set, but it's where we're at right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, just got to be real with it. It is not pretty right now. But look, man, you're lucky to have the wins that you do have in the bank from those first 8 games, right? As an Austin club that's struggling right now, it feels like to me, even as negative as I was being over the last week, like there has to be like almost nowhere to go but up. I know there are places lower in the standings we can go. But goddamn, man, I still believe in the overall talent of this team. And as Austin continues to get healthier, especially with Mikael Dessler, maybe it's delusions of grandeur. We're going to find out over the next couple of months. One other difference in the Rapids lineup that I wanted to mention, Ted Kudi-Pietro, who was acquired in a trade from DC United, DC's like weird little offseason they had, which is like, we got a clear salary, but we're going to do it in these like seemingly not efficient ways. Kudi-Pietro there, one of their 3 U22 guys under contract through 2027. He's been back in and starting after rehabbing a couple games with Rapids too. And he's looked good. I mean, that kid is explosive. He's creative. He's a really nice young player for them. So, again, even though they have a couple guys missing for international break or for injury, this is still a talented enough team to give us problems with the way we've been looking lately.
Yep, absolutely. They have enough to get this done. You also got to take into account the elevation a little bit there up there in Colorado, which does weigh on the guys, and it is an advantage for a team that plays in that. What would your panic level be if we don't get A, a Dessler start, or B, a significant amount of time on a substitution? Because since he's returned, he's got 23 total minutes.
Yeah. And not counting stoppage, right? But that doesn't, I mean, the point stands. If we don't get a Dessler, I think my panic level is close to 0. Okay. But my like eyebrows shoot up to a 10 out of 10. Like, because that is like Dessler being just outplayed by Johnny in training. Like, again, it's not like as we continue to pine for Dessler starts, we're not trying to disrespect Johnny. Like, we know how much he does for the team and how great the guy was an all-star at fullback 2 years ago. I just have a belief that Dessler is a better, like, natural, tactical right back. And we've seen that, right, when he's been healthy. Go ahead.
And Johnny is the guy we can move around, a bit of our Swiss Army knife. So I think on both sides of that argument, it's like you want to see Dessler get the start so that you have the flexibility with Johnny later, particularly with being without Uzuni here. We know Johnny can play some wing if that does come up. But I mean, I think the eyebrow thing, like you said, 10-10, I think that happened for me versus San Diego.
Okay.
Because like after 0 minutes versus RSL, I was like, okay, like he's going to be full go, ready to roll versus San Diego here, and we're really going to need him in that matchup. And then to see him only get 18 minutes, excluding stoppage time, like you mentioned there, I was concerned. And like, I don't know if it's something that he hasn't been able to get his fitness levels back up, or if he's kind of fallen out of favor with Nico. And I guess we'll wait and see here, but that's the first thing that I'm looking at on our side of the ball.
Yeah, when that lineup drops, I think I'm with you there in terms of like most of the other spots. Like we have a number of them that I think are locked in here this weekend. We have a number of them where there could be different configurations, like in that midfield there, who starts for Uzuni, but like there's multiple options that I'm fine with, and I'm fine with Johnny. I just want to see Dessler. And I think the way I'm rationalizing what we've seen since he made his return 3 games ago is it took him longer to get back on the field than the timeline we were initially given. And we've seen that also play out where like we thought, okay, like he gets a few minutes here. We expected more in the midweek against RSL. We got none. So then we say, okay, of course he's starting. And then he plays, 20 minutes, 18, something like that on the weekend. I think it could just be that he's taking longer to heal from, like we knew when he went down against Colorado that thing was bad, right? The reaction from him was pretty telling, but it may, I guess I'm just hoping that he's taking a little bit longer to get back to full fitness. And that's what we're seeing here. Still with the full week off, man, I do expect him to be in the lineup.
Okay. All right. I do too.
Well, and one guy that I don't expect to be active at all is Julio Cascante. And if you watch the press conference after the game against San Diego, there's some sort of local ordinance there where planes, I think, have to fly out at a certain time of night. So the press conference was a little bit more rushed than usual so the team could make their flight. And nobody, to my knowledge, got a question off to try to get an update on Julio Cascante after that game. So again, on the broadcast, it surely looked like a hamstring issue there on his left hammy. But I just don't see any way that you're active this Saturday if you couldn't finish out the last 10 minutes last Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Like us down a man and trying to get a goal back and you're not able to go, and then to rebound and be able to go for this matchup. I don't expect him. We've seen this time and time again with Julio as well. His hamstrings have continuously been an issue for him, and he's never back within a week time frame. So, like, I'm anticipating not having him but like BHI, we got some good news there, I believe, right, with what you brought up.
So this is, again, we're just inferring a lot here, but we did get this in an email today. John Gallagher and Brendan Heinzike will make a player appearance at the 5-4 restaurant in Cedar Park on Thursday from 6:30 to 8. So if you're up there in that neck of the woods, you can go up, get a little autograph, say hi to the boys. But I like seeing this because, like, Brendan Heinzike is alive. He will be at the player appearance tomorrow. So, I think, like we kind of mentioned on Sunday, that, like, maybe a personal thing he was dealing with on Saturday. And I just hope he's ready to go on Saturday because you're in an even tighter spot if you're down 2 of our 3 center backs.
Jeez. I mean, what would you do there? Slide Biru in?
Biru, and I would start Jean then. I think you could. I mean, if Dessler's ready to start, technically you could Dessler right back, Johnny left back. But I think Jean has played well enough where I'm fine giving him the start in a pinch like that. Like, I don't. Last time he started, man, he scored. Like, again, I have not changed my mind about him defensively, but he has been better this season than I really ever remember him. And it kind of makes sense coming off a long-term knee injury and just progressing as a very young player. Because you remember, up until this year, he was a U22 guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 10% of our goals in the season.
Fuck.
Good to see BHI there. We had some speculation that maybe he had a child, but hopefully he's ready to go because I do not want to find myself in that situation. I don't. And as comfortable as I do feel with Komenich getting the start there, and the fact that I think that he's been more than fine in his role in that appearance there. I still don't want to see it because, again, all these games now are fucking important because it's like we have bankrolled these 20 points here, correct? 20 points you're sitting on.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
With some good performances earlier in the season where we were grinding out these 1-0 wins and finding ways to win these matchups. But like this is ramped up now. You went through the gauntlet. You played Vancouver twice. You played San Diego twice. You played Minnesota twice. You played Portland twice. You got LAFC. So like this is the meat of this schedule where it's like these are the teams that we are more adequately matched up with, even when we're not performing at what we think this team can perform at. And Colorado is one of those teams. We're sitting right here. And like you mentioned, you go ahead and win this game, you find yourself back into the playoff picture or the wild card spot by winning this. Yes, they have a game in hand on us, but we can sort that out a little later. But this is the part of the schedule where you're starting to see teams that we match up with talent-wise. And I mean, I can't say confidently that I think we're more talented because I haven't seen it produce yet. But like if you look at this on paper with who we have and the ceiling that this team could potentially hit if we're firing on all cylinders, and I know that is a long, long ways away. We're still a better club than Colorado, in my opinion. Yeah. So like this is a game that is very winnable. We've won up there before, I believe. And yes, we've won up there. And like this is
our first ever win.
Yes, correct.
We've actually won more up there against them than we've won against them at our fucking place.
This has been one of the weirdest kind of matchups we've had for all these Western Conference teams in regard to the results that have happened throughout the course of history with these two teams. But like, this is a team that we can beat, and you can get 3 points here. You know, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself because things are really, really down right now. Really, really low.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And again, like even getting a point here, no matter the result, 3 points, 1 point, a loss, like you got to beat the fucking Red Bulls next week. I know we're previewing this Saturday, but like I'm thinking about the we only got 3 matches this month. And only one of them at home. You gotta win that home match, man. Like no matter who's on the field for either team there, you gotta start defending home. Not even defending at home better. You gotta start winning at fucking home because that's how you get into the playoffs in this league. Well, and like we're talking about the back line, the midfield is replenished. Savage is back. Ilya Sanchez is back. So again, missing Julio, you would think, and definitely missing Myrto Uzuni. And thinking about those guys coming back from yellow card accumulation, we don't have anybody else on caution. Again, you get suspended when you get 5 yellow cards in the league. We've got 5 guys who are on 3. So if you're thinking about that while the game is going on, Vasquez, Biru, Gallagher, Svatok, and Obrian all have 3 yellow cards.
Obi.
Yeah. And if Obi could have caught up to those guys, he would have 4.
What are you looking for the lineup come Saturday?
I mean, we talked about right back. I think Dessler. I want Dessler. And then I want, assuming BHI is ready to go, it's him and Svatok, of course. Biru out there on the left. BV up top. Osman Bukhari out there on the right. I think with this lineup, again, with those midfielders back, now we have the conversation once again about who's the odd man out if you're running a 3-man midfield. And I think for me right now, it's Besart Sabovic.
Yeah, I think I'm there too. I'd much rather have the 2 young bucks, Pep and Owen, running around Ilya, letting Ilya control the defense, control the pace of this game a little bit, direct the guys, but have the 2 young guys out there who can create off the dribble on their own, go ahead and try to attack. I do think Sabovic has a bit of an edge in regard to crossing balls and longer balls that break lines. I think he's a bit better at that than Owen and Pep, particularly with the fact that Owen has shown that like he's looking to beat you one-on-one most of the time and like go ahead, and that's how he breaks the line.
1-on-2 sometimes.
Yes, or 1-on-4 we've seen, honestly. But I still think that would probably be our best situation there. And then up front, BV, Book, Taylor.
I want to see Robert Taylor start at left wing if we're going 4-3-3 here. And I think you have to be cognizant of the fact that Colorado does traditionally press you. Like they are 5th right now in the league in possession 1 in the final third there. And we saw that. I mean, that's kind of how it wasn't really that high up the field, but kind of that pressure in the midfield is what turned us over and led to their only goal, the game-winning goal back in March. So I think that's another reason why Danny has to be out there, because I think Danny is probably our more press-resistant player there, our most press-resistant player there out of him, Sabo, and Ilie. But again, like I want to see the two. I want to see Danny and Owen out there. If Sabo over Ilie, I'm not. Oh, okay, let's ride. And if it's Obrian over Robert Taylor, okay, let's do it. Like we're a little bit more familiar with Obrian. But I think that's what I want to see. Ilie back out there with the armband for that organization, both physically and verbally out there, right? Wearing the armband in the elevation against a team that's going to try to turn up the pressure, you would think, against us at their place. And then I want to see the new guy. I want to see what Taylor can do. And if that's 30 minutes off the bench in the second half, okay, fine. He is also still probably recovering a little bit from his absence. But what I want to see, I think no matter what, is let's at least get somebody on. Let's get a fresh pair of legs on a little bit earlier than we have been, no matter the game state. Because even with Uzuni out of here and Cascante, you would think sidelined, we have guys on the bench who are MLS caliber. We don't as we get healthier, the roster is not complete yet, right? But it's to the point where you should feel confident in subbing guys on and off, I think, a little bit quicker than we have. So that's something I'm looking for. Again, further context provided, I might feel differently in the 65th minute on Saturday night. But that's how I'm looking at it right now, man. Anything else for you on this?
I mean, I think we should anticipate a Colorado side that's pretty hungry to get this game. Like we've talked about us seeing, not cupcakes on the schedule, but situations where it's like these are teams that we should beat. And I think Colorado feels that way about us right now. So I think you're going to see a pretty aggressive side to come out here and win before they had this little 2-game win streak. And then they followed it up with this Portland loss on the 28th of May. They had dropped 3 games. They're on a 5-game winless streak there with ties versus Houston and Seattle as well. But then you look at their schedule going forward, you're going to get Orlando after us, who's a very good team. You got LAFC later in this month. You got Vancouver later, LAFC in July, Vancouver in July as well. So like they're going to be one of these teams that are going to have to face some of the higher tier teams that we have already played thus far. And they're in Leagues Cup. So like this is going to be a situation where I think they're going to be coming out hungry to try to get this game. But I want to win here. And it's really because that tiebreaker, that win tiebreaker, I think is going to be something that's really important near the end of this season. And like, would I be satisfied with a draw, particularly with the way this team has looked as of late? Further context required. Yes. But the wins we just got to start stacking some wins here to give ourselves a little bit of an edge when teams are clawing for jockeying for position to move up this table. So it's going to be a good matchup, man. I like watching them play up there. I like that Colorado Stadium. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Colorado. It's a beautiful state. So I'm ready for this, man. I'm excited. I think the guys should be ready to roll. And like we said, with Nico, he's hearing it. He's heard it.
You would think.
He's absolutely hearing it. He's feeling it. So I hope that he's been in the office working with these guys, trying to find some more solutions as to how to turn this offense around. And again, we are not in the camp of fire the coach. We're in the camp of figure this shit the fuck out. Right. Yeah. So like figure this shit the fuck out for us so that we can go ahead and have a second half to this season that's really important to pushing this team into the playoffs, because we know that this is a very long season, and that once you get into the end of summer and the fall months, that's when you really can solidify yourself. And those things could be way in the past for us. This losing streak could be way in the past. It might still be on the books because it's the worst of all time for this club, but it'll be I won't remember it if we make the playoffs. That's for damn sure. I won't be talking about that shit.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think one thing you brought up there, you said Colorado, right? Not only do they have a home heavy and easier strength of schedule coming up, right? Because it's after us, you said it, right? Orlando. Then they host the Galaxy. Then they're on the road, but it's New England, right? And then they're back home with Sporting. on the 4th of July. So they are also, that's something I heard their fans saying on podcasts, was like, this Austin game has to be 3 points. We have to capitalize on this upcoming homestand. And you also mentioned they're in Leagues Cup, right? And that's something we didn't really bring up when we were talking on Sunday's episode about some of the little positives we see in the second half of the season, is that most of the best teams in the league are going to be having these midweek matches for Leagues Cup end of July, early August, putting more tread on their tires. We know Seattle and LAFC will be going through the Club World Cup group stage later this month. I saw our buddy Landon Cottom saying that I think Seattle's next 4 matches are like Botafogo, Atletico, PSG, Austin FC. The juggernauts of global football.
That's right, baby.
So again, those are things that we have to keep in mind too, where like, yes, we have Open Cup still left on our schedule, but other teams will have these midweek games popping up too in times that we don't. And that is advantageous to us historically. Like we don't do well when we go into Leagues Cup. We come out of that shit. No matter how we do in the Leagues Cup, we shit the bed after. That's how this club has historically gone. Even in 2022, we stumbled into the playoffs there, even finishing with the 2 seed. I think we won one of our last 7 matches that season. And also, just while we're talking about, I know we're this is long for just a Colorado preview here, but speaking of external competitions, I have seen some discourse in different, the millions of group chats we're in, or supporters groups or other fan channels. I don't get anybody who's saying, I just want to focus on the Open Cup and the league doesn't matter. Of course, I get we're close. We're 3 wins away, right, from that silverware, from winning the oldest trophy here in North America. But those 3 games are spaced out like fucking crazy, man. There's for June, there is no Open Cup. We don't worry about it. We got 3 games here. We got to focus on that. And then I think it's LA first in July at home. Look, man, if you want to rotate the game before our quarterfinal against San Jose, I'm all for that. And then if you advance in September, if we adjust what we're doing in some of the league matches to focus on Open Cup, when Open Cup comes up, yes. But that's maximum 3 league games of 17 left. There is no focus on Open Cup now. Put it out of your mind until July. We'll worry about it then. So I just don't get that discourse. I get the idea, but I think it's a little misguided. Yeah,
I'm right there with you. My sentiment on it was, at least we have Open Cup going on right now for us, because otherwise we would be really, really down in the dumps here. But the way it's spread out, the way the schedule is set up, it's super advantageous for us. Like you said, we only have those Open Cup games are spread out. Teams like Colorado, you have to play Cruz Azul. Like, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, they got some serious competition. The entire Western Conference, mostly the upper tier teams, have some serious competition on their plate going forward here. So as bad and as shitty as this thing has looked, it does seem like the soccer gods are somewhat peering down on us with a bit of a smile. Now we have to do our job here.
Yeah, you got to go out there and get the wins. And just because you said Cruz Azul, how's it feel, Vancouver, to be on that end of that? I mean, I was cheering for the Whitecaps, but god damn, man, that was an ass whooping.
Didn't get a shot off.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, and all like this would not have changed and the outcome, but the fact that Sebastian Berhalter was suspended for yellow card accumulation for a final is one of the dumbest rules I've ever heard in sports.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But hopefully they didn't have one guy take a goal off the face. That's the ultimate punishment.
Can you imagine getting like 2 technical fouls in the Western Conference Finals and then you can't play the finals? That would be so dumb. Anyways, unless you have anything else to add, man, how much is Austin FC winning by on Saturday?
Yes, I'd like to order the Austin FC special combo, 1-0.
That'll be $30 million, and you may or may not get it. Look, man, I'm with you. And just to be a little bit different and say that my optimism is true here headed into the second half of the season, give me a 2-1 Austin FC victory here. And crazier things have happened up there at Dick's Sporting Goods Park when these two teams come together. So a 1-0 for E, a 2-1 for me. And Jesus Christ, fellas, we do not care how you get it done. Bring us back 3 points.
Come on down to Farmer Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's last business day.
Last business day here on episode 230 of the North End Podcast. Ian, like I mentioned earlier, Austin FC2 will also be up there in the Denver area this weekend, taking on Rapids 2. And again, this is a team that we've also seen at the next pro level this season. This was our opening night matchup there at Palmer Field, where Austin FC2 scored 4 goals in the first half. Keep in mind, this is a team that has 9 goals on the season. So if we can, regenerate even half of that spark we had in that first 45 minutes, I'm going to feel pretty good about this one. But just walking into the stadium here, you don't feel great. Colorado has been scoring 21 goals for, 19 against in their 12 matches. Again, this is a team that we have 2 games in hand on. They're on 20 points. We are on 13, but I'm really, just like the first team, I'm looking at our goals for and just gritting my teeth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last 2 times we've played this team, we've scored 4 goals.
True.
Hopefully we can keep that rolling, but the way that we've been struggling to put the ball in the back of the net at both levels is cause for concern for sure.
So a couple of notes here if you are tuning into this one. And again, this is going to be on Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central. On Apple TV. I mentioned Rapids on 20 points. That's good for 3rd place in the Western Conference of MLS Next Pro at present. The all-time head-to-head between these 2 teams, Austin FC2 has 3 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses. Colorado, though, 2 road wins that were huge in terms of where these opponents are in the standings. Road wins over 2nd place North Texas SC and 4th place St. Louis City 2. And of course, we know North Texas, the defending champions, St. Louis City 2, always get huge crowds out there. I think they've done some little attendance gimmicks over the last few weeks and had like 10,000 plus at one of their games because they play in the first team stadium there. So this is a team that has gone on the road and gotten some very impressive results of late. And they are led in scoring by a familiar name. We know that the hyphen draft where Stephen Anorgiamfi was my boy also contained Kamani Stewart-Baines. So he's a Generation Adidas player, a forward for Rapids 2, of course, on the first team roster, but led in scoring by Stewart-Baines. He's got 4 goals in his 9 appearances, but they're captained by number 45, Dauda Amadou. He's got 2 goals, but he is the only player to start all 12 games for Rapids 2 so far this season. Number 38, Malik Pinto, also has 2 goals. He's the other player that has appeared in all 12 games, but the captain Amadou is the only one who has started all 12. And another name to watch, maybe the most talented player on this roster, is number 16, Alex Harris. He was a Generation Adidas pick from December's draft. He started the first 10 games, has been up with the first team over the last 2 after Bassett went down with an injury. So we may not see Alex Harris for the second team in this one. I think we would take that. But he leads the team in goal contributions with 5 in his 10 appearances, 2 goals and 3 assists. So again, despite the blowout win for Austin FC2 in the opener against this team, they've got 6 wins. We have 2. So we've had 1 win since then. I think there's a very clear favorite on paper here in this matchup. Muted. Oh,
sorry about that. Talented roster, and like we talked about with Austin on our side, we're probably going to we might see some guys called up, to play for or just to be on the bench for the first team. But yeah, man, this is it's a tough place to play again. Up there in Colorado, it's a tough place to play. We had that really fantastic season with them. We were going head to head. That was a lot of fun. But they do got some players on their side. It's Sam Bassett.
That's another good call. Yeah, it's his younger brother. They also, I want to say, I'm not sure if they had to draft him because they had his homegrown rights. I think he was playing Denver, I think, last year. But he's also a guy that plays he played for their first team, I think, got called up the first time we saw him because that was another weekend where FCito played on Friday, and then the first teams played the next day. And I believe Sam Bassett started and played like 30 minutes and then came off and was in uniform for the first team the next day, if I recall correctly. But sorry, go ahead. You're mentioning Bassett.
I'm just saying, I think he's been playing with the first team as of late.
Yeah.
Got 170 minutes these last two contests with some pretty impressive performances and assists versus the Timbers in his last matchup there. For us, man, obviously, I think with no Myrto, you're going to see CJ on our bench, and that means that it's Jimmy time, in my opinion. Jimmy's got to get rolling here, and after a hot start, like the 2 goals he had versus this Colorado Rapids 2 team. So I think it comes down to Jimmy. You got to get Alistue going as well, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, we had this little discussion before we jumped on here between like Andre Gomez or Nico Van Ryn potentially being brought up. I
wish we had Andres Gomez. Tony Gomez.
Oh, yeah.
I wish.
Yeah, playing for
Call him
up. Probably Gomez, right? Think you're getting the call up here?
I don't know how we could think anything different, because even going back to last year when we were short at center back, it was Antonio Gomez getting the call and not Sal Mazzaferro. And this season, it's been Antonio Gomez and not Nico Van Ryn. So, again, if you think, I guess that's one thing we didn't talk through with the first team is like Cascante, Uzuni, Burton, 3 guys who were active last weekend that we don't think will be, or / no will be this weekend. But you get back Sanchez, you get back Sabovic, and then it's probably Gomez with Cascante out.
Yeah.
But it could be like, I think you could see guys going both ways here this weekend. Because, again, I think CJ's going to be on our bench for the first team. But even if he gets in for minimal minutes, is it the worst thing for the guy to go and get 45 with the second team? We're going to be there anyway. So, I think you could see it could be Gomez getting his 4th and final call-up, and then maybe he's getting a supplemental before the Red Bull game. Or maybe Van Ryn gets his first call up, or maybe you just bring Riley Thomas, who's already on the supplemental, and Biru's our emergency 3rd center back in that scenario. I think there are multiple ways it could play out, but if you're asking me, one guy who's getting a call up that already doesn't have a supplemental, I think it's Gomez, just because that's what the club has done for over a year now.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. Okay.
And I would love to see Irvin Torres get back into the starting group. Like, he came off the bench last week after pulling out of the U18 camp. So again, I don't know what's going on with that, but if he's active and ready to go, I want to see him get minutes, man. But again, if he's not beating out Alistue and Barrow and Gonzalez in that midfield, then you're not beating him out. So it's just something I want to see, because that means that he's on the right track still.
Absolutely.
So again, we'll keep our eye on the personnel movement between the 2 teams here, of course, as they travel out to Colorado. Unless you have anything else to add here on FC2, how much is Austin FC2 winning by on Sunday evening?
Give me a 4-2 win. Run it back.
Oh shit, run it back.
3 times in a row. Let's do it.
Okay, I like it. I'm gonna go 2-2 draw here, but get back for Charlie, get the extra point we bring home too. I like your prediction much better. But goddamn, man, it's just been, these 2 teams are opposite ends of the spectrum since we met 2.5 months ago or whatever it was, 3 months ago almost now. But shit, man, don't care how you get it done, boys. Bring us home 3 points. And let's talk real quick about the academy, because we've got an update from the club on what the academy has been doing of late. They just wrapped up regular season play this past weekend with a full slate of road matches up there in Dallas. And the U16s and U19s both finish first in the Frontier Division of MLS Next. The U16s, this is the club's words, not mine, Dallas, delivered a dominant 4-0 win over FC Dallas on Saturday to clinch the top spot in the Frontier Division, continuing a season of strong team play and defensive discipline. The U19s also secured first with a hard-fought 0-0 draw, capping off an impressive regular season. And again, even though we didn't have eyes on those matches, when you finish first in your division over the full regular season, that is an impressive showing. So you look to the younger age groups as well. U13's got a double header in this weekend, 1-1 against FC Dallas on Saturday. Then they play the Dallas Hornets on Sunday, 5-1 victory. So there's the U13 showing up again. U14's dropped their match against Dallas, FC Dallas, that is, 2-1, but then dropped another game against the Hornets, 2-1 the next night. So U14s with a tough weekend. U15s lost 4-1 to FC Dallas in their final regular season matchup. But the Academy now turns their attention to playoff action. MLS Next Cup set for Nashville, Tennessee from June 14th to June 22nd. U15s will take on Weston FC. U16s will take on BW Gachi. And U19s will face Indy 11. So there are your first round playoff matchups for the 15s, 16s, and 19s. Of course, we will be waiting with bated breath to see those playoff results, man. End of the season is near. Put in a lot of good work here, it seems, again, throughout the Academy, not just the 16s and 19s with those first place finishes, but now here you go, going for silverware here in June. So about a week and a half away, we'll keep our eyes on the Academy.
That's exciting. Finish this out strong, boys. It's been a great ride for them.
In the Academy, also branching out to some of the other clubs here in Central Texas. They put out this press release today, so I wanted to touch on it since we had a little Academy update here today. The Austin FC Academy is hosting 3 free clinics for young goalkeepers in Central Texas. And they're doing this work alongside Cap City Soccer, AC Riverside, and San Antonio City. All 3 of these clinics are jointly organized by the goalkeeping coaches from the Austin Academy and the coaches from all 3 of those academies. So it looks like you're going around with the Austin FC Academy to each of these clubs. So AC Riverside held a clinic May 30th this last weekend, and then 2 more will happen this week. Tomorrow on Thursday with Cap City, and Friday the 6th with San Antonio City. So it says the Academy plans to execute similar clinics in the future with the aim of supporting the local youth soccer community and building strong relationships with local clubs to help further the development of the young players in the region. And that's what you like to see, because Austin FC Academy is not the only MLS Next team in the region. And we want to continue to help bolstering youth soccer in Central Texas and beyond. That's what we want to see.
That's beautiful, man. And we got a good group of talent here in this locale. So that's fantastic to see. Hope that goes well.
All right, we'll close it out with the nonsense today here, E. I can't believe we're approaching I guess I can believe we're approaching an hour, but we intended to go a little bit shorter here on a Wednesday, so we'll speed run this. Best Ball League Week 17 update, North End podcast, back-to-back week winners, E. Only unfortunate thing about that is there haven't been huge margins of victory here, but the last 3 weeks has seen us regain 3rd place over SoccerWise, so we've got a 9-point buffer over Goss there and the crew at SoccerWise. Verde Pendant and Moon Tower both strong in Week 17, mid-40s with their scores. And then up top, We Are Austin extends their overall lead on Verde All Day. They're on 785 points in first. Verde All Day 758, North End Podcast 720. So as we break into the second half of the season for Best Ball, I would like to see Andre Blake's knee heal up, and I would like to see Jonathan Rodriguez heal up and get out there. We could use some Cabecita goals, but hey, 3rd place, long way to go.
Hey, we're in striking distance, long way to go.
And then closing it out with a little recap of the picks here, E. Come up short on underdog. Matt Freese allows 2 goals. Brad Guzan allows 2 goals. John Polskamp gives up a goal in the first 20 minutes to Houston, and Houston cannot score another. So at least Houston lost that fucking game at home to Sporting.
Indeed.
3-1. But we would have taken, a 3-2 would have been grand. So we're now just plus 8.71 units on underdog on the season. We'll still take that, but man, these 2 out of 3s just keep stacking up over the last couple of weeks. Yeah. And then we go to the books. You sweep the money line picks there with St. Louis and LA Galaxy. Called our shot on the Galaxy.
That's
Get
right.
Their first win for even money. And then our totals parlay, Miami, Columbus, Orlando, Chicago, both easily going over. And then the goal scorers hold us back a little bit. You get goals from Choupo-Moting, goals from Joveljic. So E plus 0.06 units on the week with that little odd plus 101 parlay that we had in there. But we take all profits when we get them. So plus 11.61 units at the books on the season. And again, the northendpodcast.com, you can come on Thursday for the match preview article looking ahead to the Colorado match, and Saturday morning with the picks. Only 5 games in MLS this season, but we will have picks for the people. So E, I think that does it for episode 230. Anything else for you before we shut it down?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready for 3.
Man.
I'm ready for 3 this weekend. Come on.
Yeah.
The people need it. Everyone wants it. We all need it. We all deserve it. Do it.
Take care of business, boys.
Do it.
I agree. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 230 of the North End Podcast. We are back on Sunday, recapping Austin FC's matchup against Colorado Rapids. Probably not yet recapping the second team's matchup, but we'll see about the timing and talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. We will do the same, and we'll see you back here on Sunday for another episode of the North End Podcast. Until then, easy, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.